We are the keepers of the flame, the sacred order. Let the ceremony begin.
And today, Faithful Acolytes, we take a look at this. And what this is from the High Desert Sauce Company, it is not Mama Chamoy. Whatever else it is not. It is not Mama's Chamoy. Don't go around saying it's Mama Chamoy. It's not. I'll know. I'll know, and HDSC is going to know too. We'll both know. And we will form an opinion about you. That aside, we have the 7-pot Douglas. And it's a pepper I have not run across an awful lot, but it is one that I noticed in the pucker butt chocolate nightmare, whatever the Douglas sauce. I forget the name of it now. You can check the table of contents on the blog. You can go to the blog by following the link to this written review for this, which is in the description down below, and you can then find the name that I cannot seem to recall. But Douglas does seem to be a sour pepper. It is coming through sour here. I do have another Douglas sauce after this, which will, I think, kind of cement things. But for now, we're here. We've got this one. We've got raspberries, honey, vinegar, pepper mash, sea salt, and orange peel. And this is, so they've changed the logo. They changed the labels. These labels have a lot more information. They're much more descriptive than the other labels, which were the sort of logo for the company, and you'd have to kind of try to figure out what the sauce actually was. These are definitely less artistic, but they are definitely much better conveying information. And one thing to note about these, and this is very smart, they've color-coded the actual text here of the company and the name of the sauce more or less towards what the color of the sauce itself is, which is, I think, kind of a good idea. Oh, and this one, for whatever reason, sometimes the adhesive doesn't want to stay on the foam insert to the caps. This one is having some struggles with that. You can see it's a fairly thick sauce. And we're down to about, I don't know if you can see that, we're down to about the last third of this. So I've been playing around with this a lot. I like this sauce tremendously. I had to stop playing with it because I was just using too much of it. And, you know, we like to have stuff for our video reviews here on the channel. So let me go back to this real quick. So here's another thing I like about HDSC, and I wish all the sauce people would do this. So pancakes, that I have not tried actually. I don't think I would like this on pancakes, given its sourness. Pulled pork, it was okay. Not really what I want, but okay. I did have it on a peanut butter sandwich. So I had a peanut butter and hot sauce sandwich. It was okay there. Glazed ham, definitely didn't do that. You know, I don't mind ham, but the problem is that it's just me now these days, and I don't like ham, and it's hard for me to eat a whole damn ham, so I didn't do that. Topping on your favorite ice cream. I did try it on ice cream. And I tried it on a number of other places as well. That, like burgers, it was pretty solid on burgers. Of course, you know, the ubiquitous chicken tendies. I like to have those a lot. So we got this sort of a dark, it's brown towards a magenta sort of hue. I think it's a very pretty sauce. I like the color of this a lot. It definitely, the smell is, well, the smell is raspberries and super hots. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But it is a pleasant smell. So, yeah, this is not Mama Chamoy. Now, I'm kind of hoping that they actually come out with a milder version of this someday, and they call it Mama Chamoy. That way they can have two of them, but who knows? Who knows? I'm getting a lot more mileage out of my amusement mileage out of this sauce name than I probably should be. But okay, let's just get into tasting this. So we have the sour notes of the pepper, a whole bunch of the raspberry grit with seeds, but I think the sour. This is actually where I think the sour pepper works really, really well here. They lean into it, and they throw in some raspberries and honey, and this is actually a very well-balanced sauce. It's not overly sweet like raspberry preserves, but it's not just utterly sour like the some of the other Douglas sauces I've had. So I quite like it. It's an interesting approach, I think. Most of the time when there's raspberries, you'll see a tendency to go for the sweet. And the suggestion that this should be put on ice cream is, it definitely is not sweet enough for that. But, I mean, so here's a question, right? You look at most of the ice cream toppings, how many of them are sour? None, right? You go buy a chocolate or fudge or something like that, or you go to a froyo place, right? And there's strawberry preserves or there's raspberry or whatever. None of it is sour. And ice cream, I think you have to have a requisite sweetness for it to really work well there. This one, so I don't know that I would call it extra hot necessarily. I would call it hot, or on the hotter side of things. I mean, the Douglas is a super hot, but I think I called it right around a 2 in the review, and maybe a little bit higher than that. But flavor-wise, and just kind of the way that it's a little punchy out of the gate, I think this is probably going to be more well-received by chili heads than not. And the flavor, I think, is super hots are not, I don't think, known for being great flavored peppers. Certainly not with normies. And in that respect, this isn't going to change things. So it also helps if you're somewhat of a foodie and you care about things like flavor balance. So I decided today, I finally got grilling season underway, actually just last night. Couldn't be fresher. Well, I guess I could. I could have filmed it the day of, I suppose. Couldn't be much fresher. We've got some really nice pork chops here. These thin ones. I usually like to get thicker ones because I'm a big fan of the Maillard effect. But the thin ones are kind of cool because I was fighting wind and everything else, and they cook really fast. So what I did was I just did them normally, salt, pepper. And then when I took them off, I put the sauce on and just let them sit. And warm up the sauce, and then just kind of basically just sit overnight on top. So, oh man, this is excellent. The reason I did that was I didn't think that it was going to be sweet enough to be a grill sauce. Grilling, trying to grill with super hots, you gotta be a little bit careful with. Because you can get some very intense bitter notes if you're not. In this case, you got kind of a low level Maillard effect. I wish it was more pronounced. But man, this goes well. This goes together super well with grilled pork. And one of the other things that's really nice here is the cracked pepper notes. Are really making this spectacular. Yeah, this is phenomenal. I kind of think I would need to add more of a sweetener. It is a fairly thick sauce. Maybe like a honey or something to it. Maybe a little bit of rice syrup or something like that. You don't want to change the flavor too much, but I would want it a little bit stickier. It does. The viscosity level of this does help it stick really well to food though. I will give it that. A little bit of a fat rind here. I know a lot of people are saying fat, where the flavor is and so on, but I'm not animal fat and me are just not buddies. I just don't like it. Even, you know, like the pork rinds and the pork cracklings, I rarely have those. In fact, the only ones I've had probably in the last decade or so, maybe longer, are the ones I filmed for this. Well, that was quite delicious. But you'll notice I haven't put the cap on yet. And that's because we have some dessert. How about this? This is Oreo Cakesters. One of the dumbest snacks I think I've ever had the misfortune of buying. But I'd never tried them. And I thought, all right, Where do we see raspberry a lot? I think I had these for something else. But I do remember thinking, and I'm not getting a new plate because my dear grandma, dear departed grandma, she let you have dessert, but you wasn't about to make no extra work for her dirtying up more dishes. You could either eat enough to clear yourself a spot, or it meant you need to eat more of your dinner. You know, in these days, I got a dishwasher, so I guess it's not that big of a deal, but I didn't grab an extra plate, so I'm used to this anyway, though. I don't usually dirty more dishes unless I have to. In this case, I don't have to. So we're gonna, chocolate cake and raspberry is definitely a thing, right? Everybody's had that. Everybody out there has had that, right? And if you haven't had that, raspberry and chocolate cake is a thing. So that's kind of what we're gonna have here. Now these are overly sweet. Like these are offensively sweet. I really dislike these. But throw a little bit of this on there. That is not bad. It dials down the aggressive sweetness. And leaves you with a lot of that very solid raspberry flavoring. Which interacts with this, you know, don't get me wrong, it's still too sweet of a cake. But it interacts like that. These, by the way, are nothing like Oreos, if you're wondering. They're like chocolate cake with like almost like a marshmallow frosting. That's kind of what they're like. Wait, even with this, they're almost too sweet. I could not eat more than a package of these at a time. 2 of these dinky little cookies. But, you know, that was excellent too. That was excellent. Yeah, this is a really solid sauce. This is the first sauce to my memory, and I might be wrong here. This is the first sauce to my memory with the Douglas pepper that I've really actually enjoyed. And it's this weird sort of middle gray area where it's not quite a dessert sauce, nowhere near sweet enough for that. It's not even as sweet as a lot of the fruit-based sweet hots. It's just this really cool amalgamation of a somewhat sour pepper with raspberries and honey that just come together with this really just fantastic balance. Yeah, this is a very impressive sauce. And it is, to me, it's super flexible. This is one of the more flexible sauces I've had this year. Definitely, no question about that. It isn't, you know, fruit-based sweet hots to me are a little bit limited in what you can put them on and have them still be good. But with this having berries and stuff, it opens up a pretty wide gamut for, you can do some desserts with it, but they've got to be like this, you know, sort of either hyper sweet or with chocolate preferably. And then they're pretty good. I didn't like this on ice cream. I thought it actually kind of fouled the ice cream, if I'm being honest. So that didn't work. I thought it was okay as far as a peanut butter sandwich goes. So it just, I mean, your mileage is going to vary, but it is really fun to play with. This is a really cool sauce. I mean, what can I say? I really have enjoyed this a lot and had a lot of fun with it. Chamoy is supposed to be a Mexican type thing. And the one thing I have not tried this on as of yet is any Mexican food. Oddly enough, it just when I tasted it with the flavor profile and stuff, it just didn't. This doesn't strike me as like I don't know where I would put it because it doesn't strike me that it's going to harmonize well with a lot of the typical flavors of Mexican style. But maybe before it's over, maybe I'll try it just so I can say I've done it. But yeah, a lot of fun experimenting, a lot of fun playing around with this. And for me, I really, really like what they came up with here in terms of how the flavors work with each other. It is definitely, it's got some punch to it though. I mean, it's a solid 2. No question about that. Maybe even a little bit higher. So, like I was saying, probably more for chili heads, but if you are a chili head and you like, fruit-based sweet hots, especially the ones with berries, I think this has to be on your radar. Just a phenomenal entry out there, I think, and we'll just leave it there. So there is the High Desert Not Mama Chamoy hot sauce. Now go forth in peace to serve the flame.